Listen, life doesn't care about your feelings. The world isn't going to slow down because you're sad, angry, or frustrated. That's just reality. But here's where most people fail. They let negativity own them. They wake up angry, they complain, they blame others, they sit there waiting for some miracle to happen. Losers are addicted to negativity because it gives them an excuse to stay where they are. But winners, the people who dominate, they understand something very simple. Positivity is power. It's not some fluffy nonsense. It's a weapon. It's a tool you can use every single day to stay sharp, stay disciplined, and stay dangerous. When you train your mind to stay positive, no matter what's happening around you, you take control, you stay focused, you stay driven. You don't crumble under pressure, you rise above it. Positivity isn't pretending everything is perfect. It's choosing strength over weakness. It's refusing to let your emotions dictate your actions. It's knowing that even when life throws punches, you're still standing, still pushing, still fighting. Positivity is a choice, not a feeling. This is where most people get it completely wrong. They think that positivity is something that just happens when life is good, when the bank account is full, when their relationships are smooth, when everything's easy. Then they feel positive. That's not positivity. That's comfort. That's laziness. That's situational happiness, and it's weak because it depends on things you don't control. The world doesn't reward people who wait for circumstances to make them feel good. The world rewards those who take control of their mind regardless of the circumstances. The average person lives like a slave to their emotions. They wake up tired, they feel negative, so their entire day is destroyed before it even begins. They think they need motivation to act, but the truth is motivation comes after action. Discipline comes first. And discipline starts with the choice to stay positive even when you don't feel like it. That's where strength is built. That's where real confidence comes from. Every single day, life will test you. You'll face problems, setbacks, failures, disappointments. That's inevitable. No one gets through life without taking hits. But you get to decide how you respond to them. Weak people respond with negativity. They complain, they whine, they blame others, they retreat into self-pity. Strong people respond with power. They look at the challenge and say, good. That's the mindset that separates winners from losers. Positivity doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means choosing to see reality through a lens of power. You can acknowledge that things are tough and still attack the problem with confidence. You can admit that you're tired and still keep working. You can recognize that people doubt you and still move forward with certainty. That's positivity. It's not delusion, it's domination. Weak minds are addicted to negativity because it gives them permission to stay small. It gives them an excuse to not take responsibility. If they convince themselves that everything is bad, then they don't have to try. They don't have to risk failure. They get to sit there, safe in their own little world of misery that's comfortable for them, but it's also pathetic. The man who chooses positivity understands that the world doesn't care about his excuses. The world rewards action. The world rewards resilience. The world rewards those who keep moving forward no matter how they feel. When you choose positivity, you don't become blind to the obstacles, you become immune to them. You're still aware of what's happening, but you refuse to let it break you. You look at the same storm as everyone else, but instead of panicking, you smile. You welcome the struggle because you know it's making you stronger. You know that every problem you face is an opportunity to sharpen your mind, to strengthen your discipline, to separate yourself from the average people who crumble under pressure. The world is filled with people who allow negativity to poison their mind. They scroll social media all day, consuming garbage. They surround themselves with toxic people who gossip, complain, and spread weakness. They feed their mind with doubt, fear, and victimhood. And then they wonder why they're miserable, why they have no drive, why they can't get anywhere in life. They've built a mental prison for themselves, and every negative thought is another brick in the wall. The man who chooses positivity smashes that wall down. He understands that his environment matters. He controls what he allows into his mind. He filters his inputs. He surrounds himself with winners, with people who speak power, who challenge him to level up, who refuse to let him slip into weakness. He reads the right books, watches the right content, feeds his mind with strength. Every day he's building a fortress of mental toughness. Choosing positivity means rejecting the victim mentality. Life isn't fair. Bad things will happen. People will betray you. You'll face losses, heartbreak, failure. That's reality. But sitting around crying about it does nothing. Complaining never built an empire. Self-pity never made anyone rich, strong, or successful. The man who wins is the one who says, it is what it is, Now what am I going to do about it? That's power. That's ownership. That's positivity. When you train your mind to stay positive, you become untouchable. The setbacks don't destroy you, they fuel you. The criticism doesn't shake you, it sharpens you. The failures don't defeat you, they educate you. Every experience becomes another weapon in your arsenal because you've chosen to see everything as an advantage. This is how champions are built. This is how the strong dominate the weak. Control your mind or it controls you. And this is one of the most brutal, unforgiving laws of life, and most people never even realize it. They live their entire existence as slaves to their own thoughts, their own emotions, their own weaknesses. They wake up every morning completely controlled by the random feelings that hit them. If they feel tired, they stay in bed. If they feel unmotivated, they skip the work. If they feel discouraged, they quit. Their entire life is dictated by emotions they refuse to master. That's why they never win. That's why they stay average. That's why they keep losing. The truth is simple. Your mind is either your most powerful weapon or your biggest enemy. It doesn't care which one it becomes. That decision is entirely up to you. The mind doesn't stop talking. Every day it throws thoughts at you. Some good, some bad, some completely destructive. But whether you listen to those thoughts, whether you believe them, whether you allow them to shape your actions, that's your choice. Success, but they allow fear to stop them from taking risks. They want wealth, but they allow doubt to convince them they're not good enough. They want happiness, but they allow negativity to poison every moment. And then they cry about how unfair life is, how difficult everything is, how nothing ever works out for them. Winners don't live like that. Winners take full control of their mind every single day. They understand that emotions are temporary and unreliable. They understand that feelings change with the wind, but discipline is permanent. When the mind whispers weakness, they respond with strength. When the mind tries to plant doubt, they respond with certainty. When the mind screams to quit, they keep moving forward. They don't negotiate with weakness. They dominate it. Training your mind is no different than training your body. It requires repetition, consistency, and intensity. You don't build a strong body by working out once and quitting. You don't build a powerful mind by thinking positively once and expecting everything to change. Every single day is a battle. Every single day is a choice. You wake up and you decide who's in control. You or your emotions. You or your fears. You or your weaknesses. That's how strength is built. That's how power is earned. Most people are afraid of discomfort. They avoid anything that makes them feel uneasy. That's why their mind controls them. They've trained themselves to seek comfort at any cost. But true power comes from embracing discomfort. When you deliberately put yourself in situations that challenge you, that stretch you, that push your limits, you're training your mind to obey you. You're telling your emotions that they don't control your behavior. You control your behavior. You move forward whether you feel like it or not. That's where mental toughness is built. Discipline is doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. The man who masters his mind doesn't need motivation. He doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He creates the conditions. He shows up. He executes. He delivers every single day. And because of that consistency, he achieves what others only dream of. The weak will call it luck. The losers will call it privilege, but it's none of that. It's simply the result of mastering the internal battle that most people are too soft to even fight. Your mind will always test you. It will always offer you the easy way out. It will whisper, sleep in, you've worked hard, take a break, it's too risky, you might fail. What if you're not good enough? What will people think? That voice never stops, but the strong man recognizes that voice for what it is. Weakness. Every criticism will crush your confidence, but when you take control, nothing can break you. Setbacks become lessons. Failures become fuel. Criticism becomes irrelevant. You operate on a different frequency than everyone else because you're not ruled by emotion. You're ruled by discipline, by logic, by purpose. That's why the winners stay calm when others panic. That's why they keep rising while others fall, because they've mastered the one thing that controls everything else, the mind. Negativity is weakness disguised as realism. This is one of the biggest lies people tell themselves every single day. They walk around saying, I'm just being realistic. But in reality, they're drowning in negativity. They've convinced themselves that expecting failure, focusing on problems, and anticipating the worst somehow makes them smarter or more prepared. But it doesn't. It makes them weak. It gives them a built-in excuse to not try, to not risk, to not pursue anything great. That's not realism. That's fear hiding behind fake intelligence. The world is full of people like this. They talk like they've seen everything, like they know how hard life is, like they've figured out the secret by lowering their expectations. They'll say things like, don't get your hopes up, or be careful not to expect too much, as if playing small protects them from pain. But what they're really doing is surrendering before the fight even starts. They've already lost because they refuse to even compete. That's pure cowardice. They call it realism because it sounds smart, but it's just weakness in disguise. Strong people understand that being aware of challenges isn't the same as surrendering to them. You can recognize obstacles without becoming obsessed with them. You can acknowledge risk without allowing fear to control your decisions. Winners are fully aware that failure exists, but they don't build their entire identity around avoiding it. Instead, they build their identity around conquering it. That's the difference between strength and weakness. Negativity makes people feel safe because it eliminates accountability. If you expect nothing, you can't be disappointed. If you predict failure, you don't have to face the pressure of success. But that's exactly why most people live lives of mediocrity. They build a mental prison where failure is guaranteed before they even start. They convince themselves that avoiding pain is the smart move, but in reality, they're avoiding growth. They're avoiding responsibility. They're avoiding life itself. Winners take risks. Winners expose themselves to failure. Winners are willing to face loss, embarrassment, setbacks, because they know that every single one of those experiences will make them stronger. They don't hide behind the fake shield of negativity. They attack life head on, fully aware of the risks, fully aware of the potential consequences, but committed to victory anyway. That's real power. That's real courage. The modern world loves negativity. The media feeds on it. Social media thrives on it. Everywhere you look, people are broadcasting their failures, their fears, their complaints, their outrage. Misery loves company. And the more negativity you consume, the more your mind starts to believe that this is normal, that this is truth. But it's not. It's poison. It infects your mind and drains your ambition. If you surround yourself with negativity, you'll eventually start to see the world through a lens of weakness. Everything will look impossible. Every opportunity will seem dangerous. Every challenge will feel overwhelming. And eventually, you'll stop trying altogether. You have to protect your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. You have to filter out the constant stream of negativity that most people accept as normal. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, the conversations you engage in, all of it shapes your mindset. And if you allow negativity to dominate your inputs, don't be surprised when your outputs are weak, when your results are garbage, when your life feels stuck. The strong man takes full control of his environment. He chooses who he listens to. He chooses what he watches. He chooses what kind of energy he allows into his world. He doesn't entertain negativity because he understands how toxic it is. He doesn't spend time around complainers, gossipers, or victims. He surrounds himself with people who speak strength, who push him to level up, who challenge him to become better. He fills his mind with power, with discipline, with ambition. That's how he stays focused. That's how he stays hungry. That's how he wins. Negativity is easy. Anyone can sit around and point out what's wrong. Anyone can list reasons why something won't work. Anyone can complain about problems. But that doesn't take intelligence. That doesn't take strength. What takes real strength is seeing all of those problems and choosing to believe you can overcome them anyway. What takes real strength is focusing on solutions instead of dwelling on obstacles. What takes real strength is building something great in a world filled with people who have already given up. When people say they're being realistic, what they're really doing is lowering their standards to match their fears. They're shrinking their dreams to fit inside their comfort zone. They're adjusting their expectations so they never have to feel the sting of failure. But in doing so, they're guaranteeing a life of mediocrity. The man who wins is the one who refuses to play small, who refuses to surrender to fear disguised as realism. He understands that negativity is not intelligence. It's weakness. And weakness has no place in the mind of a champion.